Welcome to the fantasy show with two dumbasses and a shitty set. Hey, today is the tight end, defense, and kicker show. To my right over here is Kellen,
I'm a soldier.
and we're gonna go right into it right now with our tight ends. Top tight end that I like. It's hard to argue with a Dallas Clark. Obviously, Gates is the number one guy, so we're just kind of avoiding the obvious. Dallas Clark is coming back. A lot of people are forgetting about him. He's falling under the radar. It's Peyton's boy. Their receivers, aside from Reggie Wayne, are good, but it's kind of a question mark as far as who's his favorite, who's not his favorite. Dallas Clark will remain one of Peyton's favorite targets, and Peyton's a beast, and he's going to get him the ball. It's pretty much that simple. You're looking at close to 1,000 yards for Dallas Clark, providing he stays healthy, and, 8 touchdowns. Potentially more.
I like Jason Witten, which is obviously a top guy, top two. But he's just consistent. Romo loves him. They have that connection. They're friends, they're roommates, whatever. It just leads to more fantasy points.
Right.
Here's a guy that's good for 1,000 yards. He's a touchdown guy. He's a really good. He's a tight end where you could almost use him in lieu of a receiver if you have don't have a great receiver core.
Yep.
So yeah, Witten's definitely a top guy.
If you guys can't get Witten or Clark or Gates, you could grab somebody a little later on in the draft. A guy I like a little later on is Brandon Pettigrew, especially if Stafford stays healthy. But honestly, even without Stafford last year, he had a pretty solid year. Especially in PPR leagues, he's going to pull in a lot of receptions. He gets a decent amount of yardage. Hopefully the touchdowns will come. I like his upside, honestly.
I like Gronkowski in the later rounds. I know there's a lot of guys over in New England. I know we said that last episode, we would kind of avoid them. But Gronkowski's one guy. I know they have two tight ends, but he's one guy that is their tight end. As long as he stays healthy, he's a monster. He's a touchdown eater. He devours it, and he takes it away from the receivers. So if you don't like the New England receivers, but you do kind of like their offense, and you can't get Brady, Gronkowski would be a nice pickup. And if you could handcuff Hernandez to him, that would be awesome, because the two of them together would make a nice, solid number one tight end.
This might get confused on who to start, though.
Yeah.
One goes off one
you could
week,
even go
one goes
two,
off the other.
You could do two.
Yeah,
You start two tight ends, one enough flex or whatever.
Yeah.
Sleepers, I like Greg Olsen. I think Cam Newton's going to rely on the tight end his first
Yep.
year, like most quarterbacks do. He does like to throw to that position. I think Olsen's a good sleeper. And he wasn't too shabby in Chicago. Just he didn't flourish in that Mike Watt system. No tight end does. But I think he'll be really good in Carolina.
My sleep is actually Jared Cook on the Titans. Cook really came alive the last few games of last year. I believe he had about 300 yards over the course of the last 5 games. Started coming on in a similar way as Jimmy Graham on New Orleans, who is also a good sleeper. I think Cook has the body type to hold down a lot of touchdowns. I think he can kind of box people out in the end zone in a similar way that Antonio Gates does. So I feel like that's going to help him pull down maybe 6 to 10 TDs, which is pretty decent for a tight end. I do like him, in those later rounds if you could get him. Or in dynasty leagues, he's nice. He still might be another year away, but I think he will emerge this year.
A couple other mid-round guys you might want to look at are like Kellen, Winslow. Obviously, who else would be a nice guy in the middle rounds? Maybe a Zach Miller, but that leads us into our bust segment of tight ends, and that is my bust, Zach Miller. You could definitely get him around where you could get a Tony Gonzo or a Winslow or somebody like that. But my thing is, he definitely fell a little bit going to Seattle. The quarterback situation there is not good. They didn't really utilize the tight end too much last year until the playoffs and stuff. So you don't know what's going to happen. They also got John Carlson over there. It's really a weird situation. I don't know about his first year over there. I think his production will definitely slip. So you might want to hold off on him. Try to snag somebody like a sleeper, maybe a Pettigrew, a round or two later, and pass off on him.
Yeah, my big bust are Kevin Boss. I mean, I don't know if you could really call him a bust. Because he wasn't that great last year. I mean, he was an average tight end. I don't think he's going to do much at all in Oakland, though. The other guy is Gonzo. I just think Julio Jones is going to step in, take some of those balls away. And Gonzo's kind of getting older, How many good years could he possibly have left in him? And he's just been declining on a pretty steady decline the last couple of years.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but Gonzo still might be a solid guy. I also like Gonzo in terms of PPR because he does tend to get some receptions here and there. Let's go into the defenses. My top defense is the Packers. Been consistent for few years now, and Mike McCarthy's a very good defensive coach. They have an awesome defensive coordinator over there, Super Bowl champions. I know sometimes they tend to drop off after the championship run, but maybe you can get them not for you can wait on them. It's a defense you could wait on. Maybe you want to grab a sleeper instead and hold off a little bit because they might not be the top 1 or 2 or 3. You might be able to get them at number 4. Maybe
Depends.
Yeah,
Clay is a beast.
You're definitely going to get Seattle. The Steelers are going to go first, though. And then maybe somebody might be high on the Eagles with all their big signings. So you might be able to get them right after that. Somebody might be big on New England because they had a good defensive year last year. So,
New England's always pretty consistent.
Yeah. And
Steelers are actually my defense. They've been pretty consistent the last couple of years, and I just love the consistency there.
They've always been a great defense.
Exactly. LeBeau's a great defensive coordinator. They have all the right players to fit their scheme. It's pretty much a no-brainer for me. They do it every year. My sleeper on defense is actually Dallas. Dallas kind of had a little bit of an off year last year. They did not finish in the top 15 fantasy-wise. I think Rob Ryan being the D coordinator over there is going to help them tremendously. I think he actually had the Browns as a top 15 fantasy defense last year, and they had no talent at all. Ryan, with that kind of talent, the DeMarcus Wares and the guys that they have playing along their defensive line, is going to really help him as far as not having to sound out all the crazy blitz packages that he had to in Cleveland.
I agree.
He didn't have guys that could rush
I do.
the
I think it's going to spell bad news for my Giants, but we'll see what happens. A sleeper defense. I like the Lions. I like the Lions because
the D line.
Their D line. I mean, even if Fairley, he's hurt right now. Even if he comes back, they're still nasty.
Yeah.
They're still scary. They're young. Sue is a monster. He's like the next, thing in terms of D linemen. And they finished in the top 15 last year. They came off pretty strong towards the end. So I see them being a good sleeper defense. Let's go right into kickers. I have Alex Henry, rookie, Eagles, high-octane offense. He was the most consistent, accurate kicker in college. He's going to be huge. He's going to be right up there in his first. The Akers was always great over there. He'll definitely have a good year in terms of fantasy. So. And he could go late, so you might want to pick him up.
Yeah, people are going to sleep on him because he's a rookie. Mason Crosby's my kicker. Packers, high-octane offense. They're going to put up a ton of points. Crosby's the way to go. That's pretty much it. You don't want to get stuck with a Phil Dawson or somebody that's on a team that's not going to score. That's pretty much the secret to drafting a kicker. Draft a guy on a good team. They got a good offense, you got a good kicker.
And you can get them in, rounds 13 or 14.
Yeah, don't draft a kicker early. Don't be that guy that, you finish your starting lineup, you just need a kicker, and instead of drafting your backup wide receivers and backup running backs...
Even if these guys are gone, I said, Alex Henry can go late. So, you also got guys like Josh Brown on St. Louis, so don't forget about, those guys, too. But, just don't be that guy. Don't take a kicker around 9 or 10 or 8.
Round 16 is where your kicker goes.
The highest one... Go maybe round 13, Crosby went, so you have a little while, even if you pass up one in round 13 or 14.
Just don't ever take it early.
Yeah,
don't
be that guy.
Josh Brown's another good kicker.
And don't take a defense round 4 either, because we've seen it happen.
Yep.
It's not pretty.
All right. Especially when it wasn't that good of a defense.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is the rendition of That Fantasy Show with 2 dumbasses and a shitty set.
Check the comments.
If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below.